Have you ever wondered how countries build bridges? I mean, not just the physical ones, the ones spanning rivers and valleys, but also, you know, bridges of understanding, of shared prosperity and mutual progress across the globe.
It's a fascinating area, isn't it? Complex, often kind of understated in international relations, but the impact is just profound.
Absolutely. And today, on the deep dive, we're plunging into a really interesting and, I think, increasingly important area of global cooperation, India's very distinct approach to international development.
Yeah, we're going to explore how one of the world's largest democracies engages with its partners. And it's not just through traditional aid, is it?
No, exactly. We're talking substantial infrastructure projects, sophisticated capacity building, and even preserving shared cultural heritage. It's a really broad spectrum. Our sources for this deep dive are pretty comprehensive. They come from excerpts of a detailed annual report. So it gives us a factual, quite expansive look at India's initiatives across loads of sectors and geographies.
It's a real treasure trove, actually. It really shines a light on the scale and, maybe more importantly, the underlying philosophy of these efforts.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack the multifaceted nature of this cooperation. We want to help you understand its core principles, discover the, frankly, surprising scope and reach of India's global efforts.
And ultimately help you become truly well-informed on this crucial dimension of international relations.
Okay, let's unpack this then. When we talk about international development, it's often framed in, well, certain conventional ways, right? Assumptions about who leads, who follows. But India's approach, as we'll see today, it really stands out. It has some distinctive features that kind of challenge those traditional models.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is how India frames its development cooperation, not just as aid, but as a genuine partnership.
That's a crucial distinction.
It really is. It shifts the whole power dynamic. It's fundamentally driven by the explicit needs and priorities of the countries it works with.
Ah, so it's coming from them.
Exactly. This demand-based, partner-centric model, it's a recurring theme we'll definitely explore throughout our deep dive today. And it fundamentally sets India's approach apart from many conventional donor-recipient dynamics you might be familiar with.
That idea of a demand-based model, it sounds incredibly powerful. Suggests a more maybe equitable relationship right from the start.
It does.
So let's begin there. Let's really dive into the core philosophy and the pillars that underpin India's development partnerships.
Yeah.
Because it feels like there's a deeper ethos at play than just, financial transactions.
Absolutely. At its very heart, India's development partnership is rooted in the specific, articulated needs of its partner countries.
Okay.
This means India doesn't just arrive with a preset agenda of what it thinks another country needs.
Yeah.
No, instead, it carefully responds to specific requests that are technically and financially feasible.
That seems like a major difference.
It's a central distinguishing feature, really, because it fosters a much greater sense of local ownership and project relevance for the recipient country.
Right, because they asked for it.
Concisely. It contrasts sharply with traditional aid models where the donor often dictates terms or, imposes conditions. When a country explicitly requests assistance for a project it is identified as a national priority, well, that project is inherently more likely to be relevant to their actual development challenges.
Makes sense.
And to be genuinely embraced by the local population and government. So this approach, just by its nature, builds immense trust, and it contributes significantly to the long-term sustainability of the projects because they're truly, homegrown in their conception, even if they get external support for execution.
So not a top-down mandate, but more a collaborative dialogue from the ground up.
Exactly.
And this spirit of genuine partnership seems, well, deeply embedded in India's foundational philosophy.
Yeah.
You mentioned this ancient concept, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family.
Yes, that's the one.
How does that cultural philosophy actually translate into modern foreign policy? How does it directly influence the way these development partnerships are structured?
It's a profound influence, actually. The spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, it goes far beyond just transactional aid. It implies a sort of shared destiny, a collective sense of well-being for everyone.
A bigger picture view.
Right. This philosophical underpinning encourages a distinctly non-transactional nature in the partnerships. It emphasizes mutual respect and shared growth, rather than a simple better-creditor relationship.
I see. Less hierarchical.
Very much so. It's about building genuine camaraderie, acknowledging that global prosperity is interconnected. The progress of one contributes to the progress of all. This philosophy directly inspires India's expanding geographical reach and its willingness to engage in diverse areas of cooperation. It's seeing the world not as disparate entities, but as a connected whole.
That offers a much more holistic, interconnected view of global development. And when we look at the practical policy drivers, it's clear this philosophy also aligns with some very pragmatic foreign policy doctrines. Two key ones jump out: Neighborhood First and Act East. How do these doctrines shape the geographical focus and, I suppose, the strategic objectives of India's development partnerships?
Well, these policies are pretty foundational to understanding the focus. Neighborhood First prioritizes India's immediate neighbors, obviously. It recognizes that their stability and prosperity are intrinsically linked to India's own.
Okay, makes sense.
So this leads to a significant concentration of development partnerships in countries like Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Maldives.
The immediate vicinity.
Exactly. Then the Act East policy extends this focus towards Southeast Asia, promoting stronger ties and economic integration with that really vital region.
Right.
So development cooperation, in this context, it serves multiple strategic objectives. It builds goodwill, it enhances regional connectivity, creates economic interdependence, all crucial for regional stability and fostering a secure, prosperous environment for India itself.
So it's enlightened self-interest, in a way, creating a stable neighborhood.
You could say that. The insight here is that it's about creating a rising tide that lifts all boats in the region, ensuring shared security and economic opportunities for everyone.
So nurturing a healthy, prosperous ecosystem right on their doorstep, and then expanding outwards strategically.
Back to it.
Now, let's get into the actual mechanics. What are the main instruments India uses to achieve these goals? And how has the overall scope of this cooperation expanded in recent years? Because you mentioned expansion.
India uses a truly diverse toolkit. This includes direct grant assistance, a major instrument called lines of credit, which I'm sure we'll delve into more.
Yes, certainly.
Technical consultancy, crucial disaster relief and humanitarian aid, a wide array of educational scholarships, and comprehensive capacity building programs. That includes short-term civilian and even military training courses.
Wow, quite a range.
It is, and what's particularly striking is the considerable expansion, as the report puts it, observed in recent years. This isn't just a static program, it's dynamically growing in its scope, its geographical reach, and its sectoral coverage. It really indicates India's increasing global footprint and commitment.
That's a key point. It's not just deepening in existing areas, but really spreading its wings globally. Where exactly has this expansion taken India's development efforts?
Well, initially, the primary focus was, as we discussed, on India's immediate neighborhood, the Commonwealth of Independent States, the CIS countries, and Africa.
Right.
However, the expansion now extends significantly to Southeast Asia, the Caribbean, Latin America, and the Pacific Island countries.
So a much wider net now.
Much wider. This broader engagement really underscores India's growing role as a global player and its commitment to a unique model of South-South cooperation. It's offering a truly different partnership paradigm to developing nations. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this expansion reflects India's growing global engagement and its commitment to a distinct model of partnership based on shared experiences and reciprocal benefits rather than that traditional donor-recipient dynamic.
That's a great segue into one of the most prominent tools India employs, those lines of credit, or LIFIAs. This is where a lot of the large-scale infrastructure and growth projects really come to life, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Let's break down exactly what LIFI is and why it's such a significant instrument for these partnerships.
Okay. At its simplest, an LIFI is a concessional loan, often referred to as a soft loan. These are provided at significantly lower interest rates than, say, typical commercial loans, and they're repayable by the borrowing government. They're structured according to specific guidelines, jointly developed by India's Ministry of External Affairs and the Department of Economic Affairs, often under frameworks like IDEAS 2022, which aims to standardize and streamline these partnerships.
Okay, so concessional terms. What are the key benefits for the partner countries?
The key benefit really lies in these attractive terms. You've got lower interest rates, a generous moratorium period, typically 5 years before repayments even begin.
5 years, Grace. Wow.
Yes, and an extended repayment period, often spanning 20 to 25 years. This makes funding large-scale, impactful projects financially much more manageable and sustainable for developing economies.
That sounds remarkably flexible and supportive. But there's a unique feature of India's LOCs that really caught my eye. This allowance for local content. Can you elaborate on how that works and its broader impact?
Yes. This is truly a standout feature, and it fundamentally enhances that partnership aspect we discussed earlier.
How so?
Well, unlike some other financing models where projects might primarily use goods and services from the donor country, India's lakhs allow for project content from the borrowing countries to make up to 25% of the total project value.
25%. That's quite substantial.
It is. And it isn't just a token gesture. It's a direct strategy to boost local industries within the partner country.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about a major road construction project. Instead of importing all this cement or steel from India, the partner country can source up to a quarter of those materials locally from their own suppliers.
Ah, I see.
This directly translates into local job creation, skill development, and economic stimulation right where it's needed. It fosters a more self-reliant and equitable development process rather than just importing external solutions. It's a powerful mechanism for promoting genuine local economic development.
That's a tangible way to ensure the benefits truly stay and multiply within the partner country. Really reinforces the partnership idea. Now, let's talk numbers. What's the sheer scale of these LOSICs, and how are they distributed geographically across the globe?
The scale is quite impressive. Over the years, India has extended 308 lines of credit.
308.
Yes, totaling over USD 32 billion to various countries across diverse sectors.
32 billion, okay.
Right.
And geographically?
Geographically, Asia has received the largest share, that's over USD 17 billion. Africa follows with over USD 12 billion, and the remaining nearly USD 3 billion has been extended to countries in Latin America, Oceania, and the CIS.
Okay. And drilling down into Asia, particularly that immediate neighborhood where the neighborhood first policy really comes into play, what does that distribution look like there?
Well, in Asia, out of the total commitments, the largest share is indeed within India's immediate neighborhood. Bangladesh stands out as the largest partner under India's LOSI program. They've received 4 LOC6 valued at nearly USD 8 billion.
Wow, almost 8 billion just to Bangladesh.
Yes. Sri Lanka is the second largest, with 13 LOCs totaling over USD 2.5 billion. Nepal has received 4 LOCs worth nearly USD 1.7 billion. Maldives has 6 LOCs worth over USD 1.4 billion. Myanmar has 11 LOCs valued at about USD 745 million. And then further afield, but still important partners, Mauritius has received over USD 1 billion and Seychelles about USD 18 million.
Here's where it really hits home for me. The sheer scale of these financial commitments, coupled with that clear concentration in the immediate neighborhood, it powerfully demonstrates that neighborhood-first policy in action. It's not just a strategic concept on paper. It's backed by billions of dollars in tangible development that literally elevates the entire region right on India's doorstep.
Precisely. And this concentration isn't just about the financial figures. It reflects a deep strategic understanding that a prosperous and stable neighborhood is fundamental to India's own security and economic growth. These LOCs are building vital infrastructure roads, railways, power plants that facilitate cross-border trade, improve connectivity, enhance regional integration, all contributing to shared stability and growth. It's a very deliberate and impactful manifestation of that policy.
Beyond geography, how have these LOCs diversified sectorally? What kinds of projects are they funding now compared to, say, a decade ago? And what does that tell us about evolving development needs?
The diversification is significant. It reflects both evolving global development needs and India's own growing expertise in different areas. Traditionally, LOCs focused on critical areas like general infrastructure, hydroelectricity, power transmission, agriculture, industry, education, health.
Like classics.
The classics, yes. And also archaeological conservation, interestingly, as well as strengthening cross-border connectivity. These remain priority areas.
Okay.
However, we're now seeing a strong expansion into newer sectors, things like information and communication technology or ICT, renewable energy, and even oil refinery projects.
Oil refineries.
Yeah. Yes. It shows a clear responsiveness to the modern challenges and opportunities facing developing countries and India's growing capacity to support them in these sometimes quite cutting-edge fields.
And the annual report gives us some concrete examples of new LOCs extended just in 2023. What are some of the standout projects from that year that illustrate this diversification?
Yeah, 2023 saw new LOCs totaling nearly USD 1 billion. In Asia, a significant commitment was made to Mongolia. 2 new locks worth over USD 700 million combined, specifically for the construction of crude oil refinery plants.
That's huge for Mongolia's energy security, presumably.
A big step, yes. In Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo received an LOCI worth USD 180 million for the completion of a major hydroelectric power project, Katende.
Okay.
And in Latin America, Guyana secured an LOCI for USD 2.5 million for the installation of a solar photovoltaic power plant at its international airport. That highlights the push into renewables.
So energy is a big theme there.
Definitely. These are tangible, impactful projects addressing critical energy and infrastructure needs, reflecting both traditional and new sector focus.
It's clear that these LOCIs are translating into real-world projects. The report also highlights a number of significant projects that were completed in 2023. What are some of those achievements across Africa and Asia, perhaps, and what do they signify for daily life?
Right. Completions are key. In Africa, Mauritius saw the completion of Phase 3 of its METRO project, an USD 80 million undertaking, along with the defense supplies from India worth nearly USD 30 million.
Metro and defense, okay.
In Kenya, 2 smaller but important projects were completed, one for dairy machinery and equipment, and another for a manufacturing plant, totaling over $500,000 USD. And Gambia's electrification expansion project, worth over USD 22 million, was successfully completed and handed over, which is huge for bringing power to communities.
Electrification, yeah, that's life-changing. And in Asia?
In Asia, Nepal saw the completion of the Modi Leknath transmission line project, valued at over USD 20 million, and the Lama Sango Tamakoshi Jiri road project, worth over USD 21 million, both improving crucial connectivity.
Roads and power lines. Essential stuff.
Very much so. In Sri Lanka, India completed the supply of 500 buses and auto components, a combined value of over USD 62 million, directly improving public transport.
500 buses, that's a lot.
It is. And in Myanmar, a project for diesel-electric locomotives, valued at nearly USD 2 million, was successfully completed. So these examples, from crucial infrastructure like the metro in Mauritius to essential daily services like dairy equipment in Kenya, they illustrate the wide-ranging, granular impact these projects have, directly enhancing quality of life and economic opportunity.
So what does this all mean for the people on the ground? It means tangible impact, right? From easing daily commutes with new metro lines to powering homes and businesses or improving trade routes. It's literally connecting regions and people and transforming daily life.
Precisely.
The report also highlights some truly iconic, large-scale infrastructure projects that have been recently completed or advanced. These seem like game changers.
Indeed. These are transformative projects for regional connectivity. In Mauritius, Phase 2 of the Metro Express, spanning over 3 kilometers from Rose Hill to Redouet, was jointly inaugurated, significantly expanding urban transit there.
More metro. Okay.
In Nepal, the Kirtha-Bijolpura railway line was completed and train operations began, while the Jogbani-Bharatnagar rail link connecting Bathnaha in India to the Nepal Custom Yard was also inaugurated.
Rail links are vital.
Absolutely. And crucially, the final location survey for a major new electrified rail line connecting Raxaul in India to Kathmandu was completed. That paves the way for future cross-border rail.
Raxaul-Kathmandu rail, that would be huge.
Potentially transformative, yes. In Bangladesh, the Akara-Agartala rail link connecting existing stations was completed and inaugurated. Another key link.
Connecting India and Bangladesh more closely.
Exactly. And a major regional connectivity boost came with the inauguration of the Sitwe port in Myanmar. This is a vital part of the Kaladan Multimodal Transport Project, opening up new trade routes.
Sitwe port, right. Part of a bigger plan.
Mm-hmm. And in Tajikistan, Phase 1 of a 9.2-kilometer, 8-lane bypass road from Dushanbe to Korkut was completed, vastly improving urban mobility in the capital.
An 8-lane bypass.
Wow! These are not just individual projects, they are strategic links that will reshape regional trade and transportation for years to come.
Those are monumental undertakings, truly foundational to economic growth and regional integration. But India's approach isn't just about big loans and physical infrastructure, is it? There's a significant emphasis on empowering people through knowledge through something called the Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation, or ITEC program.
Yes, ITEC. It's crucial.
Tell us about its overview and significance.
Well, the ITEC program is truly a flagship capacity-building initiative of the government of India. And it's been running since 1964, so it has deep roots.
Since the 60s, wow.
Yeah. Its footprint is vast, reaching approximately 160 countries, and it has contributed to the capacity enhancement of over 225,000 professionals globally.
250,000 people trained. That's incredible.
It is. Beyond being a powerful tool of India's soft power diplomacy, the ITEC program has also taken on a kind of leadership role in capacity building initiatives within the South cooperation framework. The key insight here is that it's about empowering individuals and institutions in partner countries to become self-sufficient, to drive their own development agendas, rather than creating dependency.
So how does capacity building, as opposed to just financial aid, contribute to long-term self-sufficiency and deeper bilateral ties? It seems like a more sustainable model.
It absolutely is a more sustainable model. I mean, financial aid can solve immediate problems, sure, but capacity building empowers people with the skills and knowledge to solve their own problems sustainably over the long term.
Right, teaching them to fish, as they say.
Exactly. When India trains professionals in governance, technology, or healthcare, it's not just a one-off transfer of funds, it's an investment in human capital. This fosters self-reliance, reduces dependency, and builds stronger, more equitable bilateral ties based on mutual respect and shared expertise. It creates this network of professionals who have experienced India's educational and technical systems, leading to enduring relationships and a deeper understanding between nations. It's really a force multiplier for development because it's fundamentally about investing in people.
That makes perfect sense, building foundational strength within partner nations. Let's delve into the civilian training aspect of ITEC. What's the scope and scale of these programs, especially in the most recent fiscal year, 2023-24?
Well, in the fiscal year 2023-24, the in-person courses under ITEC were fully reinstated after the pandemic disruption.
Back to normal then.
Pretty much. The program offered a remarkable scale: 228 menu-based courses, providing around 6,300 slots. Additionally, 110 customized country-specific courses were approved or conducted by December 2023, offering approximately 9,600 more training slots.
So thousands and thousands of training opportunities.
Tens of thousands, really, across the different types. Plus, this was complemented by 45 eITech online courses, including 3 customized ones. The content of these courses is highly diversified now. It moves beyond traditional areas like governance to include really cutting-edge emerging fields, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, forensics, cybersecurity.
So very modern skills.
Exactly. It shows a truly forward-looking approach to addressing contemporary global needs.
In these customized courses, what are some examples of the specific tailored training they provide? They sound incredibly targeted.
Oh, they are. Incredibly varied and truly demand-driven. For instance, there are courses for English language training, which is especially crucial for African and Latin American and Caribbean countries, to enhance communication skills.
Practical need.
Very. Others focus on specific professional skills like training for yoga trainers, principles of good governance, financial fraud investigation, anti-drug trafficking strategies, cybersecurity protocols, judicial officers training, forensic investigation techniques, even specialized training for journalists or professionals in chambers of commerce.
Wow, that's specific.
This tailoring ensures the training is directly relevant to the specific needs and unique challenges of the partner countries. It makes the knowledge immediately applicable back home.
It's impressive how targeted and practical these programs can be. And I noticed something about language initiatives as well, making it more accessible.
Yes, that was a first. For the first time ever in the history of the iTech program, a few courses in 2023 were conducted with French and Spanish translation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, making the knowledge even more accessible to a wider range of participants from different linguistic backgrounds. It's a significant step, I think, in inclusive capacity building and reaching more people effectively.
That's a great example of adapting to diverse needs. The report also mentioned region-focused packages, like SAGR and AMROOT for Pacific Island countries, and the Quad Infrastructure Fellowships for the Indo-Pacific. How do these packages signify a more strategic and tailored approach to capacity building?
Well, these regional packages are a clear sign of a more strategic, coherent, and tailored approach. The SAGR and AMROOT initiatives, announced by the Prime Minister in May 2023, commit 1,000 training slots over 5 years, specifically for Pacific Island countries.
1,000 slots just for the Pacific Islands.
Yes, in critical domains like hospitality, nursing, election management, renewable energy, media, e-governance, IT cybersecurity, agriculture, fisheries, areas really relevant to them.
Tailored to their context.
Exactly. Similarly, the Quad Infrastructure Fellowships, or QIF, offer 500 training slots over 4 years specifically for the Indo-Pacific region, focusing on infrastructure development.
Part of the Quad initiative.
Right. These aren't just generic offerings. They are designed to address the unique vulnerabilities and development priorities of specific regions. It signifies a deeper strategic alignment of India's capacity-building efforts with broader foreign policy goals and regional partnerships. It's about building a collective future in a more focused and impactful way.
It's clear that iTech training isn't a one-size-fits-all model. Beyond the in-person courses, what other delivery channels did iTech utilize to disseminate this knowledge? There were a few mentioned.
Yes, iTech leverages 3 other broad channels for civilian training. First, there's eITech. This provides online, real-time training delivered by Indian institutions to professionals in their home countries.
The online version.
Right. This modality scaled up significantly since the pandemic and continues to be crucial. In the period mentioned, 45 courses were offered, with over 380 participants from 42 countries benefiting just through eITech.
Still reaching people remotely.
Absolutely. Second, the iTech On-Site channel. This involves deputing Indian training professionals directly to partner countries for short durations. They customize the content to specific sector needs, like, say, fertilizer technology, fisheries, or wind energy.
So bringing the experts to them.
Exactly. For example, experts from Power Grid Corporation of India Ltd. Were deputed to Fiji in multiple phases during late 2023 and early 2024 to provide hands-on training right there.
Hands-on, okay. And the third?
And third, we have iTech Executive. This is an exclusive program for senior functionaries and policymakers, typically Director General level and above.
High level.
Very. Its aim is to provide them with an understanding of best practices and governance innovations in India, fostering higher-level interactions and learning in cutting-edge technology and policy areas. Examples include programs for senior officials from Iraq and a multi-country program on digital public infrastructure, both conducted by a premier Indian Management Institute, IIM Indore.
DBI again.
Yes, and there are also sanctioned executive programs for senior civil servants from Sri Lanka and Indo-Pacific countries as part of those Quad infrastructure fellowships. These highly specialized programs target leadership to create, top-down impact.
That's a highly structured approach to knowledge transfer, hitting different levels. And I know iTech also supports mid-career training for civil servants and even judicial and police officers. Can you give us some details on that? It sounds vital for strengthening governance in security institutions.
Yes, this is a truly vital component, strengthening governance and maintaining law and order. For instance, nearly 500 civil servants from Bangladesh have already completed mid-career training, with another 300 expected to be trained this financial year. That's in partnership with India's National Center for Good Governance.
Huge numbers for Bangladesh.
Significant commitment. Similar programs are underway for civil servants from Myanmar. For judicial officers, 150 from Bangladesh have completed specialized training with the National Judicial Academy in Bhopal. And Myanmar also sends its judicial officers for customized courses.
Training the judiciary.
Yes. Furthermore, thematic training on critical subjects like cybercrime investigation and financial fraud investigation has been started for mid-career police officers at India's premier police academy. Participants have come from countries like Ethiopia and Nepal. This level of targeted training for specific government functions is incredibly impactful, directly enhancing their capabilities on the ground.
It really drills down into specific needs.
And there's one more channel, actually. The deputation of Indian experts to friendly foreign countries. Based on requests from host governments, these experts are deployed under the iTech program for periods ranging from a few months to several years.
Longer-term placements.
Sometimes, yes. They cover a wide array of domains: defense, legislation drafting, medicine, archaeology, forensic sciences, agriculture, Ayurveda, disaster management, English language, ICT. It's a broad range.
Whatever the need is.
Pretty much. Since 2014, over 200 iTech experts, a majority in defense, about 178, but also 38 civilian experts, have been deployed in over 20 countries. And formalities are underway to deploy more in Kenya, Kazakhstan, Myanmar, and Uzbekistan. This channel of expert deputation is crucial because it embeds knowledge transfer directly into the partner country systems.
Right, into the system.
Yeah, fostering sustainable change and long-lasting relationships that go beyond just theoretical learning in a classroom. It's truly about building institutional capacity on the ground, from within.
That's a unique and deep level of engagement, essentially embedding expertise directly into the partner country's fabric. Now, iTech also has a significant defense training component.
Mm-hmm.
What does that entail, and why is defense cooperation important in this context of broader development? It might seem separate to some.
Well, under the ITEC Defense Program, the Ministry of External Affairs annually offers capacity building programs to over 120 friendly foreign countries.
120 countries.
Yes. Since 2014, nearly 23,500 defense training slots have been offered, with around 12,000 defense personnel and officers actually trained so far. These personnel undergo training in over 600 ITEC defense courses across more than 100 defense training institutions under India's Ministry of Defense.
A huge network.
It is. The courses are designed for all levels across Army, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard personnel. What's unique is their embedded nature, meaning trainees from partner countries train right alongside their Indian counterparts.
Training together.
Yes, sharing the overall experience and operational methods of Indian Defense Forces. Customized courses are also offered upon request to meet specific needs.
And what kind of courses?
The content is comprehensive. It covers security and strategic studies, defense management, technical skills like electronics, mechanical and marine engineering, marine hydrography, but also things like counterinsurgency, jungle warfare, qualified flying instructor training, and various ground duty and flying training courses. National security and strategic studies, too.
Broad spectrum of defense skills.
Very broad. And from a strategic perspective, defense cooperation is paramount. It builds trust, it fosters interoperability between forces crucial if they ever need to work together, and it enhances regional security. By training together, these forces develop shared understanding and capabilities. These are essential for collaborative efforts in things like peacekeeping, disaster relief, and addressing common security challenges like piracy or terrorism. It's an investment in shared security architectures and, frankly, a testament to deep bilateral trust.
Makes sense. Moving beyond loans and training now, India's development initiatives also include some incredibly diverse projects. Let's talk about the grant projects, specifically the Centers for Excellence in IT, or CEITS. This sounds like a perfect example of leveraging a unique Indian strength in the digital realm.
It absolutely is. India has successfully leveraged its global brand value in IT to establish these Centers for Excellence in IT, or CEITS, as a focus modality of capacity building.
So building on the India IT brand.
Exactly. These are essentially computer training labs. They offer industry-recognized CDU certified courses. That's from India's Center for Development of Advanced Computing, a leader in these fields.
CDU, okay.
In advanced subjects like high-performance computing, big data, artificial intelligence, machine learning, various computer languages, the impact has been substantial. Nearly 60 such CEIT projects have been executed in almost 50 countries.
60 centers in 50 countries.
And close to 200,000 trainees have successfully completed these advanced courses. These centers have earned, as the report says, enormous goodwill and are highly sought after by partner countries.
This isn't just about giving fish, it's about teaching people to fish. And here it's about teaching them to code. It's a truly fantastic example of leveraging a unique Indian strength to empower future generations and build a digital workforce.
Exactly. It directly taps into India's proven expertise in the digital domain. These CEITS are established across Central Asia, West Asia, Africa, Latin America, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific Islands. Currently, projects are underway for CEIN in Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, and Argentina, plus an upgrade of the Param supercomputing facility at the Kazakhstan CEIT.
Supercomputing, too.
Yes. This is about building a foundation for the digital future in these nations, creating a skilled workforce that can drive innovation and economic growth in a rapidly digitizing world. It's a very forward-thinking form of development assistance, really anticipating future needs.
And beyond the digital, there's a truly heartwarming humanitarian aspect to India's development cooperation. The artificial limb fitment camps, popularly known as Jaipur foot camps.
The Jaipur foot, yes.
How do these operate, and what's their tangible human impact? It sounds incredible.
These camps are organized in close coordination with the Bhagwan Mahavir Viklang Sahayata Samiti, or BMVSS, a renowned Indian NGO based in Jaipur.
Great, an NGO partnership.
Yes. The initiative, which was recently renewed, is implemented under the ministry's India for Humanity initiative that was formally launched in October 2018, inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's 150th birth anniversary.
India for Humanity.
Nice. And the impact is direct and profoundly human. By March of the relevant period covered in the report, a total of 25 camps have been conducted in 21 countries.
5 camps.
Resulting in the fitment of over 12,700 artificial limbs.
12,700 people helped.
Wow.
It's life-changing for them. In the current year mentioned, camps have been completed in Iraq, with preparations underway for others in Ethiopia, Mongolia, and Sri Lanka. This program highlights a deeply compassionate dimension of development cooperation. It focuses on direct humanitarian aid and empowering individuals by restoring their mobility and dignity. It resonates deeply with that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam philosophy we talked about, global family, shared well-being. It's about transforming individual lives very directly. That truly encapsulates the humanity aspect of development, providing direct, life-changing support. And speaking of cutting edge, India is also heavily promoting its own digital public infrastructure, or DPI, worldwide.
Yes, DPI is a big focus now.
What exactly is this, and what's the motivation behind sharing it with the Global South?
So, Digital Public Infrastructure, or DPI, refers to India's successful homegrown digital platforms, things like UPI for instant payments.
Which is everywhere in India now.
Absolutely. Aadhaar for unique digital identification, MOSIP, which is an open source identity platform, DigiLocker for digital document storage, and eSanjeevani for telemedicine. India is actively promoting these globally, especially among countries of the Global South.
And why share these?
The motivation largely stems from deliberations during the two Voice of the Global South summits held in 2023. Developing nations expressed a strong interest in digital transformation to sort of leapfrog traditional development challenges.
Using tech to jump ahead.
Exactly. India's push for DPI is about fostering digital transformation in partner countries by sharing its successful, scalable, and importantly, inclusive digital models.
What's the potential impact?
It has transformative potential for financial inclusion, making banking and digital payments accessible to millions, even in remote areas, boosting local economies. It can also significantly improve governance efficiency and the delivery of public services, reducing friction, making government more responsive.
Huge potential benefit.
Huge. And the global reach of this initiative is remarkable. 8 memoranda of understanding, MOUs, were signed in 2023 alone with diverse countries. Suriname, Armenia, Sierra Leone, Antigua and Barbuda, Papua New Guinea, Trinidad and Tobago, Tanzania, Kenya.
Wow, all over the world.
All over. Separately, for the export of the Unified Payments Interface, UPI specifically, 6 letters of intent have been signed between India's Reserve Bank and the central banks of host countries, including Guyana, Peru, Uruguay, Namibia, Fiji, and Nigeria.
Taking UPI global.
That's the aim. It demonstrates India's commitment to sharing its successful digital models, enabling developing countries to leapfrog traditional infrastructure challenges and build robust, inclusive digital economies with speed and efficiency.
It's an incredible way to share technological advancements that have truly revolutionized daily life in India, now extending that benefit globally. Finally, let's talk about a very different but equally impactful area: cultural diplomacy, specifically the preservation of shared heritage.
Ah, yes, the cultural side. Very important.
How does the Development Partnership Administration's 4V division contribute here? And why is this so important for international relations? It's not just economics.
No, definitely not. This division, DPA IV, plays a crucial role in restoring and conserving heritage sites in partner countries. It's funded by the Ministry of External Affairs and primarily implemented by the Archaeological Survey of India, the ASI, which is renowned for its expertise.
ASI, right.
The primary goal is to establish and strengthen cultural linkages, promoting soft diplomacy by celebrating shared histories and values. Beyond economic or strategic interests, preserving cultural heritage fosters deep mutual respect and understanding between nations.
How so?
Well, it acknowledges and protects the unique identity and history of a partner country, which in turn builds stronger, more respectful bilateral ties that transcend purely geopolitical considerations. It's about nurturing a shared human story, acknowledging connections that go back centuries.
That's a beautiful way to connect people through shared history and artistic legacies. What are some of the notable heritage restoration projects currently underway that exemplify this? The report mentioned quite a few.
Yes, several significant projects are in progress. In Cambodia, India is working on 2 key sites. Firstly, the Tor Prom Temple. This is the ministry's oldest conservation project abroad, actually, having begun way back in 2004. It's now in its 3rd 10-year phase. Recent work there has involved restoring the vault and semi-vault roof of the Hall of Dancers and conserving parts of the facade and floor. Intricate work.
Top Prom, the famous Tomb Raider temple.
That's the one, yes. The second project in Cambodia is the Preah Vihear Temple. Sanctioned more recently, expected to take 10 years for completion. During 2022-23, excavation work was carried out to ensure safety for crane movement for buttress wall construction, and most of the yard construction was already completed.
Major structural work there.
Yes. Then in Lao PDR, the Wat Pho Temple project is in its second 10-year phase, which commenced in November 2018, following a successful first phase. Recent work includes documenting for construction of gateways, core drilling, mending archaeological stones, and conservation of galleries and pathways.
Vat Phao in Laos. Okay. And Vietnam.
In Vietnam, India successfully completed the restoration of 3 groups of temples H, K, and A at the My Son complex. These were formally handed over in December 2022.
My Son, another famous site.
Very much so. Building on this success, 3 new projects have been recommended for execution there. Conservation of the F&E groups of temples at My Son, conservation of the Dongdung Buddhist Monastery, and the Nan Tower. An ASI team conducted a feasibility study in May 2023 and is currently preparing the detailed project report for these new initiatives. These projects, they're not just about restoring buildings, they're about rekindling a sense of national pride and cultural continuity in these partner nations.
This is truly fascinating. It's not just about bricks and mortar. It's about preserving stories, knowledge, shared cultural narratives across borders. It connects us to history in a very tangible way. And it's not just physical sites, right? There's also important work on intangible cultural heritage mentioned.
That's a very important distinction, and yes, indeed. DPAV also undertakes the restoration and conservation of intangible cultural assets. A remarkable example is the Memorandum of Understanding with the Royal Government of Cambodia in November 2022, specifically for funding the conservation of Ramayana mural paintings at the Wat Rajah-Bo Pagoda.
Ramayana murals, wow.
Yes. The first installment was released in August 2023, and work is in progress. There's also collaboration with Cambodia for research, development, and application of technology for digital documentation of heritage sites, ensuring these treasures are preserved digitally for future generations.
Digital preservation too, smart.
And furthermore, in an effort to promote the restoration and revival of intangible cultural heritage like language, rituals, practices, performing arts, etc., in an institutional manner, the India International Center in New Delhi was tasked with a pilot research project. It's called South Asian Manuscript Histories and Textual Archive, or SAMHITA.
SAMHITA, what did that involve?
It involved cataloging, surveying, and digitizing Indic manuscripts held in various locations globally. Places like the University of Copenhagen, the Wellcome Collection in London, Tribhuvan University in Nepal, Akshesvar Mahavihara also in Nepal, and the Indian Institute Library at the Bodleian in Oxford.
Tracking down manuscripts everywhere.
Exactly. As a result, 1,100 Indic manuscripts were cataloged and digitized, and a digital manuscript library, accessible online at samhita.iedled.in, has been developed.
Making ancient knowledge accessible.
Precisely. This effort to preserve intangible heritage, from murals to ancient manuscripts, underscores the depth of India's cultural diplomacy. It's about nurturing shared legacies and ensuring they are accessible for future generations, which also encourages, I think, critical thinking about how cultures intertwine and enrich each other globally, creating deeper bonds than just economics or politics can.
As we wrap up this deep dive, it's abundantly clear that India's international development cooperation is incredibly dynamic and multifaceted.
Yeah.
Just recapping, we've seen how its core principles are centered on the needs of partner countries, driving that truly demand-based model, not a top-down approach.
That partner-centric focus is key.
The sheer scale and strategic focus of the lines of credit are truly remarkable, aren't they? Fueling massive infrastructure projects, economic growth, particularly in the immediate neighborhood.
Billions of dollars, making a real difference on the ground.
Then the ITEC program, as a flagship for capacity building.
Yeah.
Empowering thousands, hundreds of thousands of professionals globally with its diverse civilian and defense training initiatives.
Investing in people long-term.
And beyond the financial and educational, we've explored those unique humanitarian efforts like the Jaipur Foot Camps, India's innovative push for digital public infrastructure, sharing its tech success.
Yeah, the DPI and Jaipur Foot really showed different facets.
And its profound commitment to preserving shared cultural heritage, both tangible and intangible.
Understanding this multifaceted approach offers a truly deeper insight into global partnerships and diplomacy. It highlights a model of development cooperation that prioritizes mutual benefit, local ownership, and long-term sustainability, really moving beyond traditional aid paradigms.
Yeah.
It's a comprehensive engagement that spans from economic development to cultural preservation, creating holistic and enduring relationships that kind of redefine international collaboration.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe something for you, the listener, to consider. In an increasingly interconnected world where we see different models of global engagement playing out, what kind of development cooperation do you think truly fosters long-term, equitable, and sustainable growth for all.
And building on that, this raises an important question. How might the focus on soft power and mutual benefit, as exemplified by India's approach, reshape those traditional notions of aid and influence in the 21st century? And what implications does this have for how countries truly collaborate for global progress and stability going forward?